welcome back to the channel. Of course, I haven't made many videos lately at all, or haven't made any videos lately at all. I've been really focusing on photography, and that's kind of what I'm really loving. But I do want to make more videos. I do enjoy making videos and like seeing them do well, so I'm going to try to do that a little bit more. So this video is kind of, I guess, a little bit of an update on things, and as you might have guessed from the title, I got a new toy. That'd be this one right here. This is the Canon 70-200 f2.8L IS2 USM. Isn't that cool? Basically, this is Canon's top of the line. Actually, there is a newer version. This is the Mark II. There is a Mark III out now, which is supposed to improve a few things, but this is still essentially Canon's top of the line telephoto lens. Yeah, I'm real excited about it, as you might be able to tell. It's actually the first lens that I've bought myself, aside from, of course, the kit lens that came with my T6i when I bought that. So I'm real excited to finally actually own a lens myself. Most of the other lenses that I use, including the one that this video is being shot on right now, this is the Canon 50mm f1.8. That actually belongs to my mom, and so do a couple other ones but she doesn't use her camera, so I've kind of, using those lenses. Anyway, I'm excited to step it up with this here. This is a big improvement over this lens that I've been using for the same purposes, essentially, for the past year that I've been doing photo and video. And this is the Canon 75-300 f4 to 5.6 3 Mark III USM. So this is the size comparison. Big difference, I know. Like, it's crazy. There's a big weight difference too, so it's a lot harder for carrying around. So obviously that's a disadvantage. Portability isn't its forte, that's for sure. But it's got an absolutely incredible image quality. I'm not really going to get into specs and stuff. I don't really know about that stuff. So if that's what you're looking for, maybe go somewhere else. I'm just excited to have this lens here and to talk about what I plan on using it for and what other stuff I'm looking for in the future. So I guess the first thing that I'm using it for, as you've seen from I guess my most recent video, or one of my most recent videos, was our trip to Oregon for paintball. And of course I was doing photos of the paintball trip and did a big vlog from the whole trip. And of course in that video I talked about buying a new camera, which was of course the Canon 6D Mark II. So I got that there a little while ago, and I really wanted to step up my lens game too, because it felt like I was obviously getting more performance out of my camera than I had before by having a faster shutter, especially for doing sports stuff like paintball, and also do soccer photos and videos. So having that is nice for sports, but my image quality was still suffering due to the lenses I was using. What really pushed me over the edge was actually a couple weeks ago. I was shooting photos at a soccer game with the 75-300. I was shooting at f5.6, and it was getting into the evening. It was something like 8:30 in the evening, so the sun was starting to set, and it was starting a bit dull out. It was a bit overcast, right? It wasn't like a bright sunny day. So I started to feel suffering a little bit because I had to bump my ISO up in order to keep my shutter speed high enough to capture the action that was going on in the soccer game. So that's when I knew I was like, I need to step it up and get something that's going to be, at least a stop better in aperture. So to get a more wide open aperture for better quality image in low light is a big part of why I wanted to step up to this. Obviously a sharper image all around is just going to be what you're going to get out of this, even though I've been pleasantly surprised by what this has been able to deliver me in a lot of cases. So there will be certain situations where I will still want to use this. Paintball, I think for the most part, I'll probably I'll pull myself to bring this in there. I'm someone who likes to use my gear. As much as I do definitely take care of my gear, I do like to use it. I don't want to just have it sitting there, and what's the point if you're not going to use it, even if you do pay a lot of money for it. Well, I guess that's the thing, you pay a lot of money for it, you might as well use it. This though I may take on certain trips, say for example in hunting, going in the woods, being on the quad. This has gotten very dirty and it still has mud on it from last fall when we were in moose hunting, and I was taking a lot of photos, and that's probably where I'll end up taking this rather than taking this much more expensive lens in there in that situation with me. I wouldn't want to risk having something happen to this in that kind of situation. Paintball, I'm not really concerned about too much, especially here locally. There's not usually a lot of guys on the field at one time, so I don't really worry about getting hit too much. I don't think I've been hit really at all. Bigger events maybe, we'll see. So I guess that's kind of why I got that. I guess, generally better image quality, better low light performance, that's the number one, of course. And I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about was what other things I wanted to look for in the future. Where I've been doing a lot of photos, I've been starting to do a little bit more portraiture, done a few things. My sister had her high school graduation there, or prom as you might call it, a couple months back, and I did a full photo shoot of that. And you can see a bit of that stuff both on a Instagram story highlight and a post on my Facebook page, some photos that I took. And so getting into more portraiture, it would be nice to have something that just a little bit sharper, a bit faster autofocus, since the 1.8 obviously is quite wide open for a 50mm, and I do love that lens for doing portraits. I did another session there just a few days ago where I used the 1.8 for the 50mm 1.8 for everything, and it was great. However, it would be nice to have something that I could open up a little bit wider and did have faster autofocus more than anything else, since I was doing some group photos and I made that rookie mistake of not having the entire group in focus, and some were a little bit closer to me than others, and not stepping up my aperture to maybe 2.8 or so like that, which would have made a big difference in the overall quality of photos, but I digress. So yeah, I guess the other lenses that I really want to go for, when it comes to portraiture, people tend to go for one of three lenses. You're going to usually go for a prime, unless you're using something like the 70-200, 24-70 as well sometimes, but more so the 70-200 for its compression. People will use this as a portrait lens, and I will certainly do a bit of that at some point. Maybe I'll make a video on it at some point too. But more people will go for primes when it comes to portraiture, and I think that's the way to go in a lot of cases, and in most cases really. You do get more wide open aperture, so you can get lots of blur in your background. But there's three different lenses that people will go for portraiture: 35mm, 50mm, or 85. And it really depends on your style and where you're shooting as to which one you should be using. Personally, I guess I've never really shot with the other lenses as primes, but I've shot at that 35mm equivalent on zoom lenses. I've shot at that 85 around there mark in zoom lenses. I've shot at 50, and after doing a few sessions with 50mm, absolutely love it. So that's where I'd be going for a prime lens right now, would be the 35mm, or not the 35mm, the 50mm f1.2 from Canon. That would be my prime of choice, and just so happens that it's actually a little bit lower cost, a little bit cheaper than the other ones, which is real nice. It does get the benefit of that wider open aperture and that super fast autofocus with the dual pixel autofocus of the Canon 6D. That would be my prime choice. And I like to have three lenses. I like to have a wide angle, I like to have a portrait prime lens, and a telephoto lens. So that wide angle, like I mentioned, that's the one that we haven't covered, that I would go for the 16-35 f2.8. For a wide angle, I've been using the 10-22mm EFS lens. I've had to use that on my Canon T6i, which has been great. It is a very good lens. That particular lens, the 10-22, versus its kind of little brother or little sister of the 10-18, is incredible. It's very, very sharp, has a more open aperture, so you do get a little bit better low light performance versus that 10 to 18. And it does, I would say, autofocus is a little bit faster. It's a fantastic lens. However, of course, it is only for a crop body, so I can't use it on my 6D Mark II. I want to get that equivalent in terms of the focal range of just 16 to 35, and get that f2.8 to get that really shallow depth of field, so you get some really nice looks. And that's kind of where I want to go for lenses, and that's I'm excited to try to do that. I'm not in a big rush though. I think the 50mm f1.8 is great for most of the portraiture I'm doing right now, and since I'm not doing a whole lot, most of what's been on my camera in the past few months has been the 75 to 300, so switching over to that 70 to 200 now. Honestly, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, since I'm not going to be able to zoom in quite as far, which is kind of ironic for how much bigger and much bulkier and more expensive lens it is, but it will yield a very sharp image that I'm really excited to see. And that image stabilization is just something that, you know, I'm just really excited. That's it for this video. Like I said, just a little bit of an update and show you the new lens and talk about what other lenses I am looking for in the future. Not in a big rush for them. The next one would probably be the 50 and then the wide angle. I haven't been shooting a lot of wide angle photos lately, but I always do keep the T6i with that 10 to 22 on it in my bag at all times if I do need it, because often, in so many cases during a shoot, there'll be a single photo that I'll want to use a wide angle lens for, such as during that shoot of my sister's graduation. There was one particular photo we did with her on the ground. I was overhead, kind of the dress spread out. Shot that with the wide angle lens, but the rest of the entire day, a couple thousand photos, all shot with the 50mm f1.8. Yeah, it's hard to justify right away, but it will be happening at some point. And as we get more and more into the videos, certain things will become a little bit more important for that as well. Right now I shoot this here with my 50mm f1.8 on the 6D Mark II, but of course if we're on the go, it's the T6i with the 10 to 22. So at a certain point we're going to upgrade that to the 16 to 35 so we can get that really nice bokeh videos on the go. Anyway, that's been it. I will make every attempt to try to make a more regular video once a week or something like that. Making no promises, because I've done that before and I never follow through. So yeah, that's it for now. Love this lens. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.